What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World. It's episode 23. Hey, and doing a little later today. Woke up just was tired. Went to sleep too late. 11 o'clock, too late. Especially when I usually get up early. But so I pushed it back to 4 right after I got off work. So, hey. Welcome back to another episode. Like I said before, it is August 1st and it's Friday. Let's get a round of applause because it's Friday. Man. So happy it's the weekend. Hopefully everybody's having a good last day of the week, work week. Well, some people work Saturday and Sunday, but I don't. So, hey, tell me, hopefully you have a good weekend, have something fun planned to do, or just relax. Hello, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode. We got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things that popping up. We got the Manhattan shooter. Of course, we got to talk about that stuff. We got a wide variety of things. We got to talk about the earthquake, 8.8 earthquake out in Russia. We got some more Cincinnati stuff from the brawl or the hate crime, however you feel it was. We got some Shannon Sharpe. We got to talk about Shannon Sharpe and just some other things like somebody becoming a millionaire off of PPP loans. So PPP loan fraud. That's the more accurate how to say it. But hey, it's time to get into it. Remember to like and subscribe. Follow, hit that notification. Follow me on Instagram and all that good things. What do you say, Latoya? I work tomorrow at the hospital. Ooh. All right. Dang, 12. Yeah, I remember my mama, she was a hospital secretary, so she used to them 12-hour shifts. Putting in them hours. I know it can be stressful. Golly. Can't imagine working. Well, I work, 7 to 4. 7 to 4 is my schedule now, and I like it very much. But, well, like I said, let's get into this video. The first thing we're going to look at is the Manhattan shooter. So, you've been seeing some stuff, basically. Mentally ill or crazy man, however you look at it, came into a building with an AK and took some people's lives. So we're going to get over into that, talk about the letters and other things like that they found, and just a breakdown of how some of the people was feeling. So let's jump over right into that and see what it's talking about. Let's get into it.
Morning, authorities say they know the identity of the man behind a deadly mass shooting in the heart of New York.
Pure evil came to the heart of our city.
Oh, yeah. Authorities say the man in this photo is 27-year-old Shane Devin Tamura of Las Vegas. They say he's the man seen here walking towards 345 Park Avenue in Manhattan last night. In his hand, an M4 rifle.
The shooter entered the lobby, turned right, and immediately opened fire on an NYPD officer. He then shoots a woman who took cover behind a pillar and proceeds through the lobby, spraying it with gunfire. He makes his way to the elevator bank, where he shoots a security guard.
Officials say the suspect, wearing body armor, then went to the elevator where a woman was getting out. He allowed her to get away unharmed. He then rode to the 33rd floor to the offices of Rudin Management, the owner of the building. There he allegedly walked the floor, firing rounds, striking and killing a woman, before police say he turned the gun on himself. Police releasing this image of the weapon.
Let's bat it up. I'm not going to stop it too much, but y'all heard that part where they said a woman, he let a woman get off the elevator. I'm assuming he didn't have a grudge against her. I don't know why I can't imagine what's going through her mind, because she was spared, because it was only his judgment that made her where she lived or died. But Jesus Christ. But let's keep going into this.
There he allegedly armed. He then rode to the 33rd floor to the offices of Rudin Management, the owner of the building. There he allegedly walked the floor, firing rounds, striking and killing a woman, before police say he turned the gun on himself. Police releasing this image of the weapon. Workers inside the 44-story building were told to shelter in place, some using this office furniture to barricade a door.
We heard multiple shots go off in quick succession from the first floor, and a lot of us just rushed into the room. Some went out in the back door, out onto the street. Other people, including me, we ran into the conference room and then eventually barricaded the tables across the doors and just stayed still.
Police in tactical gear rushing in as terrified employees rushed out, their hands.
I can't imagine how scared I would be. Jesus. Like I said, we got to pray for the family, but Jesus Christ.
In the air, some later embracing loved ones, grateful to be alive, while officers outside were seen here performing CPR on a man. In all, 5 people were shot. 4 were killed. 1 man was left in critical but stable condition. The NYPD officer killed was 36-year-old Diderul Islam. He was off-duty working security for the building. He leaves behind 2 young kids and a wife pregnant with their 3rd child.
He died as he lived, a hero.
Officials say the shooter arrived in the city just hours earlier after driving his BMW across the country.
What is he? I don't know. Oh, Jesus, this man is sick.
In his car, authorities say they found a revolver, ammunition, and medication. Police overnight descending on his home in this gated community in Las Vegas. Police there are telling the NYPD that Tamura had mental health issues but did have a license for his guns. An investigation into a possible motive is underway as authorities question why the office building, which also houses the NFL headquarters and multiple financial firms, was targeted. Meanwhile, another deadly mass shooting in America in the last 24 hours.
We'll get into that a little, most likely tomorrow, into that shooting, but that is absolutely crazy. What can go? They said he was angry at the NFL. Jesus Christ. Absolutely crazy. But we're going to get over into the next video where it talks about the letter. But God, we just got to pray for the families of the people who lost their lives. The pregnant. God, it's always when a cop is killed, it's swear the cop or a fireman swear it's like their wife is always pregnant. So got to pray for him. We know policemen do a dangerous job, and it's God, let's pray for him. But let's get over into this next video.
Rob, just the brazen way this suspected shooter walked into this building, his weapon by his side in broad daylight during rush hour in Manhattan. What do you make of that?
He was determined. He drove the entire way out, and they had him tracking through New Jersey, I think somewhere in the 4 to 4:30 p.m., and got into Manhattan and did this around 6:30. So he wasn't even stopping to think about it. He's been fantasizing about this. He had these actions in his mind, and he just got out of his vehicle. He even left another weapon and more ammo in the car, got out with this weapon, probably a spare magazine or 2, and then just walked in and started shooting. And I think that's where you really have problems with how do you react to that? I mean, action always beats reaction every time. If he walked into a building, even the uniformed police officer is seeing thousands of people come through those doors and not expecting that. And even if he saw the weapon, by then to get his weapon out and actually use it in a force that could counter it was really tough. and then he just proceeded to go in. And I don't know exactly how he got on the elevator.
Man got on shades, ready to. Oh my God! They say he had mental issues, but he was still able to carry it to get a gun and legally have a gun. They said it was registered to him. So, I wonder what kind of mental issues he had. I wonder
to get to the third floor. Normally, those buildings require some type of badge to access the elevators. But again, determined with an assault rifle is tough.
Danelle, what kind of preparation or planning do you think could have gone into this?
Well, more is going to come out in the days and weeks coming ahead, but it clearly, as Rob just said, this individual was what we call a determined assailant. This is what we would call an act of targeted violence. Many jurisdictions, cities, and states have some type of mechanism to kind of detect this. But quite honestly, if this individual left no breadcrumb trails or what we call leakage online, didn't tell anybody what he was going to do, it's very, very hard to stop these lone actors. And so if he's kind of concocted this notion that the NFL is the root cause of his medical illness, his mental illness, and he hasn't shared that with anybody or any threats, he could have been baking this plan for a while, and clearly, he planned this to the T. Double parking in front of the building. I lived in that area in New York City. He passed by literally dozens of skyscrapers that are just like that. So this is clearly a targeted
he was on a hunt.
He's probably been planning it for a while and maybe even keeping it to himself.
Some people.
One of the clues at this point, Rob, is the note found in the suspect's wallet that said, quote, "Please study my brain for CTE." And, quote, "The league knowingly concealed the dangers of our brains to maximize profits. They failed us." Likely referencing the National Football League. In that second quote, we know the NFL had an office there in this particular building. Our Tom Winter did say that there's no evidence that he ever played in the NFL. But how do you see investigators using that note and this information?
So he never played in the NFL, but he's targeting the NFL because they're a major football league. And I guess he got hurt in high school. At least, I don't know for sure, but if he never played for the NFL, he probably played in college or high school. I can't say it's never right to take your frustrations out, especially going to kill somebody when they haven't threatened your life. It's crazy. Now, do coaches can I see coaches, especially at high school level, some bad coaches telling kids to keep playing on when even though they're concussed? Yes, I can see that happening. I can definitely see that happening. I can see that happening at all. But going out and taking it to the NFL office when you never even played in the NFL, and just in general, just shooting up a office building because you're upset what a group of people did and they didn't even physically touch you. That's absolutely crazy. Let's keep going.
As it fits into the investigation.
You have to take it. Once they determine that in fact it's his words, it's his handwriting. He was actually quoting a former NFL player in that quote about playing in the NFL and how the NFL failed him. That player had committed suicide. He kind of referenced that by drinking the gallon of antifreeze. So his note was a little bit confusing on how he was talking about it because he did never play in the NFL. But I actually started suspecting CTE yesterday. Again, when you look at the building and who was in there because it was so targeted. I saw an interview with him after a high school football game. And then when I heard he shot himself in the chest, that's the same way Junior Seau committed suicide in order for them to study his brain. So all three of those started leaning me towards the CTE. And then when the note came out, obviously he referenced it. They're going to have to talk to acquaintances and friends and family to see if he's talked about it in the prior life. But then again, he may not have. He may have done this all in his brain, all in this own fantasy of doing this and carrying it out. So it is really tough.
I want you guys to listen to a witness who was in this building at the time of the shooting. Watch this.
I was part of a room of about 150 people watching a presentation on the second floor large conference room. We heard multiple shots go off in quick succession from the first floor, and a lot of us just rushed into the room. Some went out in the back door, out onto the street. Other people, including me, we ran into the conference room and then eventually barricaded the tables across the doors and just stayed still. I think it was very, very apparent through all this that a lot of us were young. A lot of us went through training in elementary school of what to do in an active shooter situation. We were all...
And that's very sad to say. That's very sad. You got to go through training as a kid. Yeah, I've definitely had drills about an active shooter, had drills about, active shooter. I can't. Yeah, it's sad that we have to do that as children, especially in elementary school, but it's the world we're living in now.
Fortunately prepared.
Unfortunately prepared. Danelle, how can any workplace guarantee safety for their employees?
No, we're seeing the evolution of high school shooting training, assailant training. These individuals were probably trained in elementary school and high school, and then they're growing up and they're adults and they're applying these skills. I'm sure that building and other large buildings will start looking at what they can do to protect badge access, things like that. But once again, you had an NYPD officer in the lobby. He's there as a deterrent for normal crime. He's certainly not there to combat a determined assailant. I think we'd be remiss in mentioning the fact that the current administration, the Trump administration, has plans to rescind over $1 billion in funding for Homeland Security for the state and locals, specifically to combat this type of threat. It's called the Targeted Violence Terrorism Prevention Program. It's a grant program. I was just speaking to somebody who was starting what we call a threat assessment center in the West Coast, and he was laid off before they even got it off the ground. So there's programs out there, but they're poorly funded, and now it looks like they're going to be going away.
Mm-hmm. That is absolutely crazy. Now we're going to do, there's one more video just talking about it. Basically just goes into more about the investigation and the second note that they found.
They found a second note from the gunman in the deadly New York City mass shooting. Police say they found the note at the shooter's home in Las Vegas. Sources tell ABC News it was in part an apology to his parents. And we're learning new details about the attack as well and the victims who lost their lives. ABC's Eka Jachi.
Let's, like always, let's pray for the victims' families. This is, you would never think just going to work one day and then active shooter comes in, mad at the world, mad at the company, and just ends up taking your life. Jesus Christ, I can't imagine that. Well, let's keep going.
Here in New York with more on that. So, what are we learning about this apology note that the shooter wrote to his parents?
That's right. So investigators, they're still combing through all the evidence that they can find about Tamura, and they've led themselves to Las Vegas, where this entire incident began. So they went through his home, in which he owns, and they found that second note which law enforcement sources say partially was an apology to his parents. Now, authorities are still reviewing the content for further insight into Tamura's actions and possible triggers for his actions. They believe that his primary target was the NFL headquarters that was located on 345 Park Avenue. And they do this because they've seen the extensive references, not only in that second note, but that first note. Remember, investigators found that 3-page note on his person that essentially accused the NFL of concealing the dangers of football-related head injuries. Obviously, he claimed he suffered CTE. That is not able to be determined while he's still alive. Nevertheless, investigators are also discovering that he had several mental health crises back in Las Vegas, where he lives, once in 2022, another in 2024. They also know that he still maintained his CCW license, his concealed carry license, that the Las Vegas Police Department gave.
Come on, let's talk about that. That is crazy. How do you have multiple mental health issues come up? And multiple, have so many mental problems, and you're still allowed to keep your CWP or CWW, whatever they call it over there. Jesus. That just doesn't make sense to me. That does not make sense to me. It should be at least flagged or something like that. Be like, oh, well, this needs to be further developed. Like, why is he going through a mental health crisis? Does the crisis affect his judgment on having a gun or not? Or him or her? Jesus Christ, people. Jesus Christ.
Even in 2022, despite Nevada's red flag laws that were instilled in 2019. But again, the police, they're still working to understand his actions and whether or not anybody assisted him in this back home. But again, back for the NFL part, there's still no link between Tamura and the NFL from what investigators are looking at.
Now, officials say he was targeting NFL headquarters, but ended up in a different office because he got on the wrong elevator. What more are investigators saying in terms of the actual timeline of what happened here, how he pulled off this attack.
Well, essentially, the entire incident started when Tamura walked into that lobby at 345 Park Avenue. That's when he immediately shot an off-duty NYPD officer, and then he shot another woman that was taking cover. Now, he fired several shots in the lobby. That's according to law enforcement sources and surveillance video, injuring others, then shooting a security guard at the elevator bank. This is where investigators say he made what apparently would be labeled a mistake in his mind, him wanting to go to the NFL headquarters, unfortunately instead ending up at Rudin Management, where more injuries and another unfortunate fate.
You don't even end up at the, oh my God, it's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. The fact that you go and try to shoot up an NFL place who you never played for, but you end up on the wrong floor or at the wrong location, the wrong part of the building, and killing people. Yeah, even if he didn't kill himself, shoot himself, in jail for life. He needs to be under. I don't want to hear him going to mental health facility. No. It's already gone past him needing to be in a facility. He needs to be in prison. But let's finish up this video.
Fatality happened, but law enforcement, first responders, after that, they locked down and evacuated the building. We saw that video where several people were exiting the building with their hands up in the air, and they're still trying to obviously determine, and look through all of the evidence to just find out what exactly triggered this entire attack, Diane.
And what about the victims? What's the latest on them and their backstories here?
Right, so we do know that first off-duty police officer was 36-year-old Didaru Islam of the NYPD. He was a Bangladesh immigrant that immigrated to the United States. He served at the NYPD's 47th precinct in the Bronx for 3.5 years. He was working as an off-duty security officer at the time when he was killed. He survived by his wife, who's 8 months pregnant at the time of the shooting.
He has
2 young sons. We know about Wesley LaPatner. She's the Blackstone executive. She's survived by her husband.
Hopefully the mother is all right, because I know all that stress just that close to the pregnancy or the due date can't be good for the baby inside the belly. Jesus Christ.
Husband and 2 children. We know Julia Hyman, which sources are starting to uncover. 27-year-old Julia Hyman. She was killed on the 33rd floor after the shooter mistakenly accessed the Rudin Management where she works. We know about Alan Etienne. He's one of the building security guards. He was fatally shot while serving his security role in the torso. And we also know that another individual was injured, an NFL employee. His name right now is being withheld. Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, mentioned him in a statement.
Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I cannot. There's nothing to say about it. You got to pray for the family. Tell me your thoughts. Is it this man went to the NFL headquarters because he was upset that I'm assuming that the coaches made him play when he was concussed technically, and he's blaming all that on his mental health issues that he's experiencing now. And he goes to the NFL, which he never played for. Let me repeat, never played for the NFL. He didn't go to his school. He didn't go to the school that it happened at. He didn't go to the coaches. No, he went to the NFL headquarters. Wild. Absolutely wild. Tell me your thoughts on that. Tell me your comments. Tell me if you agree with any of the things I said. Like I said, always, we need to have a discussion on this stuff. It is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy to think about. Now we're going to pivot over into the hurricane. So the hurricane, we got to talk about that. Not the hurricane, the earthquake. I got different natural disasters on my mind. The earthquake that hit Russia, 8.8. I think they said it was like number 9 or something like that on the history's highest scale. So let's get over into those videos and see, wow, Jesus, what was the damage? What was happening? They say that the tsunami, just for the size of the earthquake that happened, the tsunami was relatively small. It wasn't that what people would expect from an 8.8 magnitude earthquake. But let's get over right into that and see what it's talking about. Golly.
All right, so this is some new video just into our newsroom. This is from an area in Russia, and this is our first look at this tsunami wave, where we can see, this is called the, I'm sorry if I mispronounce this, the Severokursk area. And
see the
this
buildings
is in
moving?
Russia's Kuril Islands. And you can see the tsunami wave coming, and you can see it doing damage. And that's our first look at that as this repeats, Marla.
Yeah, and on a closer look, you'll see the buildings being swept away. So these images are out there. There's a watch for the entire West Coast coastline. Here's what I'm talking about here when you're seeing the buildings being swept away. This is one of the largest top 10 earthquakes to strike
since 1990. Since 1900. One of the top 10 earthquakes in the world since 1900, 8.7 magnitude quake. And you think about, earthquakes as you get up in magnitude, they're not all the same. I mean, that is a enormous earthquake, which we think happened out in the middle of the ocean. Because if something like that would have happened right under land, the devastation would be, unbelievable. But as
I couldn't imagine what the sight would have been, what we would have seen in the videos that we would have reviewed if this would have happened under some people. The amount of catastrophic death oh my God, jeez, we're lucky that hit in the middle of the ocean. It didn't. If it would have caused way more damage, way more loss of life. I'm not sure if anybody lost their life here, but I'll look into that. But Jesus Christ, I can't imagine.
We saw with Japan when we had that big quake there in Fukushima, the tsunami was more deadly than the quake itself. And we know the power of water in terms of a tsunami wave is about as powerful a force as there is on Earth. And it can move buildings, it can move cars, and it can kill a lot of people quickly. Hopefully we don't have that situation here, but it is concerning when we start hearing about these warnings and watches.
This is a live look at a location in Japan. So you're seeing the activity in the ocean, of course. As it relates to the concern here, Hawaii has just been upgraded from a tsunami warning to a tsunami watch. If it strikes there, it will be 7 o'clock, 7:15 their time, local time, Hawaii time, which is not until the 10 o'clock hour for us. We're hearing that would translate. Here's a live look at Hawaii and Waikiki Beach. We're hearing that the worst of it, if it were to happen along the West Coast, would happen in the 1 a.m. hour Wednesday.
Right. So again, Hawaii now a warning up from a watch, which means that they're more concerned about it and that they are going to be having literal alarm bells, which they have set up for potential tsunamis that will be blaring in Hawaii over the next few hours to get people prepared for this. Let's hope it's a minor incident, but we don't know exactly what it's going to look like as we continue to follow this.
So now that is absolutely wild. We're going to get into, they just showing some videos of the shaking and the damage that was happening. So let's get over right into that. Yeah, I couldn't imagine being inside a building like that. Too much glass around.
Прошел примерно час с момента землетрясения.
You hear the sirens in the background?
Вот так у нас мониторы выглядят.
В основном здания стояли, но одного из детских садов, который находился на ремонте, обрушился фасад. Погибших и пострадавших нет. Спасатели МЧС России осмотрели, в настоящий момент здание огорожено. Также Камчатским центром наблюдения и предупреждения о цунами была объявлена угроза цунами в нескольких муниципальных образованиях Камчатского края.
That is wild. Let's go into some more stuff. Jesus. I've never felt a violent shaking like that. I felt a little shaking from the earthquakes of the earthquake that hit over in South Carolina. I've never felt anything this violent. So I can't imagine how that would feel. Tell me if y'all felt, how did y'all feel if y'all have ever felt an earthquake or a big earthquake? Jesus.
Непосредственная угроза волн цунами. Возникла непосредственная угроза волн цунами. Ждите дальнейших сообщений Главного управления МЧС России по Камчатскому краю и действуйте соответственно.
Господи, боже мой!
That is great.
Стой, Господи, боже мой! Когда успокоится все, Господи! Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой-ой-ой-ой! Осечка мой маленький, осечка. Сейчас пойдем. Сейчас пойдем, подожди.
Got the dog right there.
Ой, Господи!
They outside? That is wild. We've seen that. Let's get over into the next one. So this is a surgeon room that happened. Yeah, that wasn't that bad. That is crazy. Imagine you're on the table. Imagine you're on the table getting operated and then an earthquake hits. Oh my God. Absolutely crazy.
После землетрясения вода ушла.
I know they got to be careful because when the water goes away, it's like a big wave is coming in. That's the dock. We got to get back out of there. Oh, you got mountains collapsing? Oh, that's crazy. And
this is a problem. One of the strongest earthquakes on
last
record.
video we're going to look at just to
ever has struck Russia's far eastern portion of the continent, triggering a tsunami that spread across much of the Pacific Ocean.
Waves hit parts of Japan, Hawaii, even as far as Alaska. Authorities saying to avoid the coastline. Joe Cortez live in studio with the latest.
Well, Kate Patrick, the 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck a peninsula on the east coast of Russia. This is new video this morning out of Russia. It shows panicked sea lions diving into the sea as rocks from the cliffs, they fall from above them. Now in Japan, people were sent to evacuation centers. We saw traffic jams across Honolulu.
Think about the animals.
David Schneider, a tsunami warning coordinator at NOAA, says tsunamis cross the ocean as fast as a jet airplane in deep water. But when they get close to shore, they slow down and start to pile up.
A tsunami is the entire ocean column that is being lifted up above that high tide level there because of that extreme movement of the Earth's crust with the earthquake there. So this is a significant planetary event that we've just witnessed.
And many areas have downgraded their warnings, but a meteorologist out west with the National Weather Service is saying that they're seeing water surges, and while the impacts are low right now, he says that people need to stay very vigilant and avoid the coast. Live in studio.
Absolutely crazy. Now, like I said, tell me your thoughts. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Have you ever been in an earthquake before? I've never experienced something like that. I know it's been the top 10, but have you ever felt a violent shaking like that where you were super scared in a situation? I've never. I've felt a little bit of shaking, but it's never where I was scared anything was going to happen. I can't imagine those people out in what is it, California? we always talking about a super earthquake that might happen. I can't. But there's stuff that happens everywhere. You have stuff that you got to worry about hurricanes in Florida. You got to worry about tornadoes in the middle, earthquakes in California, wildfires. Oh my God. Mother Nature can be very scary. Very scary. And we just got to take care of our planet until eventually because it's almost like a certain fact that unless we do something, change our ways, we're going to the earth isn't going to sustain us. It's not going to sustain us forever, of course, because planets always die. But that is absolutely crazy. Like I said, tell me your thoughts on that, of what that was happening, but can't imagine. Now we're going to pivot over into Cincinnati. So we're going to go over to Cincinnati. If you didn't watch the video, see, I got stuff going on. If you didn't watch the video that I made already where I broke down the actual brawl, where they say it started with a slap, where the Russian dude slapped the black guy, and then him and his friends started jumping on the Russian people. So go and watch that. I'm not going to show any more of the video. We're going to get into some of the stuff that's happening with the suspects. The first thing we're going to get into is, so after that incident, the residents held a safety meeting. So they had a safety meeting because they were concerned. So with the chief of police, so we'll get right over into that. And we got some councilwomen making comments that everybody's upset about. So we'll get into all of that and see what it's talking about. But let's get right into that stuff and see what we're talking about.
Leaders took part in a public safety forum tonight where the brawl was addressed. They spoke about how they're responding to crime and how they're collaborating to prevent something like this from ever happening again. Allie Henner joins us live. She has that angle of today's big story. And you were at that meeting. You just said it was packed, right?
Yeah, Rob, it was standing room only. People were even waiting outside to see if they could maybe find a seat halfway into the meeting. Now, we do know that Cincinnati Police Chief Teresa Thigi was in attendance along with City Manager Cheryl Long and the President and CEO of the 3 CDC. Now, Mayor Piraval also made a brief statement via video call, and a lot of citizens had a lot of questions during this, and a lot of them were answered, but I spoke with many Cincinnati residents after this forum. They say the brawl that has now gone viral is at top of mind, and they still have a lot of questions and a lot of concerns.
Yeah, it was... No matter what they say, that was hard to watch. I don't care what they say. To me, it was hard to actually, because you got to go watch it on Twitter or something like that, but you can't show it on YouTube. But it's intense. It didn't look good. Some of that stuff, like it can be considered attempted murder. So what they was doing then, that was crazy. But let's get right up. Let's keep going into what they was talking about.
After this forum, they say the brawl that has now gone viral is at top of mind, and they still have a lot of questions and a lot of concerns.
Let me be clear, crystal clear. That was a violent encounter. It makes me sick to watch it over and over again on national news, especially.
Cincinnati Police Chief Teresa Thigi again addressing the violent fight, now garnering national attention.
I will not tolerate lawlessness on the streets of Cincinnati. I owe it to you, as people who live and work here, to get the lawlessness under control.
City leaders and citizens filled this
room
at the downtown public library to
get the lawlessness. I owe it to you, as people who live and work here, to get the lawlessness under control.
City leaders and citizens filled this room at the downtown public library Tuesday night for a forum about public safety. Some raising concerns after that brawl.
Enough's enough. We got to get this under control because, I mean, no matter what caused that, that fight, it's grotesque. I've never seen that woman. I thought she was dead.
Yeah. Thigi also said they're conducting a fair investigation.
I know there are many out there who are waiting for me to make a statement from this side denouncing some participants' behavior in that activity.
Yeah, yes. I will say, because exactly, the Russian dude did slap him. So yes, he needs to be arrested for assault. So I don't know why they haven't arrested them yet. I guess assuming they don't want to press the charges on him, which at the end of the day, he did assault him by slapping him in the face. So that is absolutely crazy. But I don't know why they haven't arrested them yet. But in general, it was very hard to watch. Very hard to watch.
And I know there's some on this side that are waiting for me to denounce the other half of that fight's participation in that activity. Here's where I have to operate, folks. I have to operate in the neutral zone as the facts are being gathered by the investigators.
The forum included a moderated Q&A where questions were submitted. One of those questions, were there any 911 or 311 calls for noise or disorderly conduct during the violent incident?
The incident that took place at 4th and Elm, there was one call to police for an assault report. There was another call that was not to the police, that was a medical run for the fire department.
Chief DG shared data specific to the central business section where aggravated assault is up 43.8% and robbery is up 50%.
We acknowledge that, we own that. And that's why we are putting strategies together to combat that.
Those strategies mentioned include the Street Crime Task Force, Roving Task Force, curfew ordinance changes, and the drone program. Well, this forum was hosted by the Downtown Residents Council, and we do want to note, before this forum even began, a man was actually kicked out for disorderly behavior, and then in the middle of this forum, during the Q&A portion, a female was kicked out again for disorderly behavior. Now, Chief DG says the investigation into this violent brawl is ongoing, and we, of course, will be following it very closely, and we'll bring you anything as soon as we know it. For now.
All right, so like they said, they had that. People were concerned about it. So now we're going to get over into, seems like some higher ups are saying that stuff needs to happen now. So let's get over into that video.
So the FBI and the Justice Department are launching an investigation into that brutal Cincinnati assault that went viral over the weekend. 3 suspects now facing multiple charges such as assault, aggravated rioting, while 2 others have also been charged but not yet arrested. Meanwhile, a local councilwoman named Victoria Parks is facing.
They begged for the beat down. I am grateful for the whole story. Yes, I will say that you can't. However, what happened, it seems to me that the Russian people started the fight. I will say that. But I think you need to know when to stop. Yes, you can't control how other people react, but I feel like there should be a time to stop. If someone is on the ground begging for mercy, I don't think, that's just my opinion, how I was raised. If someone's on the ground begging for mercy, because I've already done the beatdown, there's no need to keep hitting and stomping and kick them in the head. I also don't like jump ins. I don't like jump ins. Now, if the Russians would have jumped on the people and then they jumped, that's totally different. I like the one-on-one fights. Let's have one-on-one fights. And then at the end of the day, that girl, it didn't look like that she was trying to swing at nobody. It seemed like she was just trying to stop people from keep hitting it. And then the man out of nowhere sucker punched her in the head and made her head hit the ground so hard I thought she died. That's what I initially thought, and all I saw was blood coming out of her nose. That scared me. I was like, nah, that's too much. Come on, now that was too much. Now I might be wrong. You might have a different opinion from me. You might think I'm wrong on this, but that was just how I felt. It's just yes, they started the fight, and they need to be charged for starting that assault, but I think it was taken too far. Well, yes, we are always entitled to our opinion. Yes, I understand. You do need to keep your hands to yourself. But like I said, once the fight's over, the fight's over. That's at least what I think. But let's keep going in to see what these people was talking about.
In backlash over her comments on the victim, saying, quote, they begged for that beatdown, adding, I am grateful for the whole story. Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno sits on the Homeland Security Committee and obviously represents that state. Senator, thanks so much for joining the program this morning.
Well, thank you for covering the story. It's been absent from the national news, so I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about this heinous situation.
Well, Senator, we're covering this story, although we don't know all the facts of the case, and there's an investigation underway because it's a part of a larger trend, a lack of law and order, the fact that there's this mob, even if someone hits you first, how you respond with an entire mob, that just isn't the way we do things in a civilized society, right?
No, absolutely. And by the way, Holly, which is one of the victims, I actually, when I saw
See, that is also my opinion. I don't think, like someone hits you first, yes, you are allowed to respond through, hey, you got to respond through violence if someone hits you. I understand that. But there's no need to gang fight. If they weren't trying to gang fight, we don't know what would have happened. But just from the videos we've seen, the first thing that happened was the black people, our people, jumped on them first. They started to immediately gang up on them. I don't know if that just doesn't seem right to me. I would rather if the black guy and the Russian guy who actually was fighting started swinging, then yeah, then that's totally. Then if someone tried to jump in, yes, it's all right to jump in. But I don't believe in jumping. I don't believe in jumping like that.
the video thought she had been killed. I posted pictures with her permission yesterday of what happened to her. This is a middle-aged woman that was going out for a nice time with some friends. This is how she ended up. I mean, these pictures are so graphic, so horrible, that I wanted people to see this is what political leaders in Cincinnati are allowing. Cincinnati is an amazing city, made by great people over decades, centuries actually. It's one of the shining jewels of Ohio. And these idiotic political leaders that the citizens allow to have office need to go. I'm going to call on all federal agencies to review the funding that we provide Cincinnati. And I'm giving the leaders of Cincinnati 1 month to come up with a plan for them to protect civil rights for their citizens. And if they don't do it, Lawrence, I'm going to ask these agencies to suspend all federal funding because we're not going to put up with this. They're down 200 police officers. The police chief blames social media. The city council person blamed the victim. The mayor went to a misfit mayor's conference and then took a vacation to Canada. Hasn't been back in town since then. This is a total travesty. I'm not going to put up with it. Ohio deserves better, and Cincinnati certainly does too.
Senator, I believe that most citizens are good. You got people that act the fool, but most citizens want law and order in their town. So the funding, you're correct. That is one element to this story. But what about conservative ideas that believe in law and order being brought to that city to actually win? Because the problem is Democrats are running these towns.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Look, we have to have a wholesale change. That's why I want to highlight this. Look, these elected leaders want destruction. They want less policing. They want lawless society because they want to destroy America. I know it seems to some of your viewers that maybe that's too hyperbolic. It's not, Lawrence. They have a dark view of America. Look, they honestly care more about foreign countries.
Now, we're going to skip on past this because they're going to get into more political, and we're not trying to talk. We just want to talk about what the facts were, So let's jump over into this next video we got for this.
Well, it is being called a coordinated attack and kind of like an ambush. That is what happened in Cincinnati, a detective describing last weekend's violent street brawl. 3 of those suspects appeared in court yesterday on charges of felony assault and aggravated riot. Nate Foy is live from New York City with the latest on this story. Hi, Nate.
Hey, Aisha, for the first time, we're seeing...
Now, like, I agree with the charges. It's understandable, fella. But like I said, I believe the Russians should be charged as well. Everybody gets assault because it's assault when it's no longer a threat. Yes, at first it could have been self-defense, yes. But after it goes too far, it becomes assault when it's no longer a threat. And then it's... The riot is because it was basically a gang fight. People started jumping in, but Yeah, like I said, tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts. Do you agree with the charges, or do you like me? You think the Russians should be charged too? Do you think that only the Russians should be charged and all the black people who jumped on them should be set free? But yeah, tell me your thoughts. Let's keep going into this video though.
Pictures of the injured female victim after she got sucker punched in the face during that brawl. And Senator Bernie Moreno describes her as Holly. He says that she gave him permission to share the following pictures that you're about to see. And I warn you, they are disturbing. So take a look here.
God.
Holly's recovering from a concussion and various...
That was the one hit. The one hit the guy did to her face. Jesus.
Facial injuries. Senator Moreno said he thought Holly was dead when he first saw the video. Now take another look here. She gets knocked out by a man in the middle of the fight. What started the fight is still unknown, but Cincinnati Councilwoman Victoria Parks appeared to blame the victims, commenting on a Facebook video, quote, "They begged for that beatdown. I am grateful for the whole story." Now, we've reached out to the councilwoman for comment. So far, she hasn't responded, but according to local reports, she stands by those comments. Video circulating online shows the white man slapping a black man before the brawl, but Senator Moreno says Cincinnati leadership deserves blame.
They're down 200 police officers. The police chief blames social media. Total travesty.
So 3 of the 5 suspects, as you mentioned, Aisha, appeared in court yesterday. They're charged with assault and aggravated rioting. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced last night that state troopers will provide support for Cincinnati police. Now, 2 of the 5 suspects charged for that brawl still have not been arrested. We'll send it back to you, Aisha.
Okay.
All right. So now, last video we're gonna look at. It seems like one of them has already been. One of them has already just been released on bond.
Out of the sports world now. ESPN confirming to end.
Wait, wrong video. We'll get into that later. Let's get over into this last video for this. It looks like they was just released on bond.
In New York, more fallout from last week's viral street brawl in Cincinnati. The mayor and other city leaders facing heavy heat for their reaction to the incident and their handling of policing in general. The mayor's been on a vacation all week, and that's about to change. I want to bring in Nate Foy for the latest on this. Nate, hello.
Hey, Bill. So, yeah, Cincinnati Mayor Aftab Pureval is expected to finally answer some questions in a news conference that's being reported by local media today. And as you mentioned, he's been on vacation in Canada all week. So a lot of people say that it is about time that he answers some questions. Meanwhile, one of the men who police say punched and stomped on a victim has reportedly posted his $270,000 bond. Jermaine Matthews will have to wear an ankle monitor and surrender any guns as a condition of his release. Now, his case will go to a grand jury for indictment next week. He's one of 5 suspects facing charges. Matthews appeared in court yesterday to face 2 new counts of felonious assault and 1 count for misdemeanor assault. He posted bond shortly after. Detectives say Matthews and another suspect ambushed the victims before attacking them. But Cincinnati Councilwoman Victoria Parks appeared to blame the victims in a Facebook post, writing, quote,
So, yep, they're still going to be talking about that. How she blamed them. Nobody.
And there is such thing as inappropriate actions, and there are consequences to actions. And that is what my post meant. I warn you, Bill, telling a local affiliate, quote, nobody deserves a beating, but there is such thing as inappropriate actions, and there are consequences to actions. And that is what my post meant.
She is 100% correct. There are consequences to actions. There are always consequences to the actions you take. So yes, him getting hit and punched is the consequence of him putting his hands on somebody else. Yes. But I think it is, but I do believe that it is us to decide on how far we take it. How far we take it. Because I would hate for him slapping you to you end up, you catching a body or becoming a murderer because he slapped you. You can't take it too far. That is my point. There's no reason to take it too far. Now, if you feel like that him slapping and wanting to, no matter what you do to him, because some of those things could have killed him. Let's be honest. Some of those things could have easily killed him. Especially the girl too, how she hit her head on that table. not table, how she hit her head on the floor, the pavement. People could have died. I don't think we just need to understand how far to take things. Now, like I said, let me know your thoughts.
I warn you, these pictures you're about to see are graphic. Ohio Senator Bernie Marino says one of the victims, who he names as Holly, he's been to the hospital several times over the past week. Marino is now threatening to pull federal funds if Cincinnati leaders don't come up with a plan to protect the civil rights of their citizens.
Absolutely crazy. It's a crazy scene in general. A crazy scene in general. But like I said, tell me your thoughts. If you think so, do you think that the charges are warranted? Do you think that the Russians should be charged like I do? I think everybody needs to be charged. I don't think anybody should get off. That's just my thoughts. But like I said, tell me your thoughts. But now we're gonna pivot over into Shannon Sharpe. We got in some new stuff with Shannon Sharpe. If y'all remember what was going on with Shannon Sharpe, basically, we'll do a little breakdown. Basically, do a little breakdown of what all happened. So, right before he was about to sign a deal with ESPN, I think it was ESPN, for YouTube, it's $100 million. A girl he was messing with came out saying that he forcefully assaulted her. Now, I'm not sure if it did or not, but she said that it wasn't always assault. It was just sometimes out of the encounters that it was assault. I don't know what happened, but he ended up settling, going for a settlement in the case. So we'll look into just article what it was talking about for the settlement. So let's see what it's talking about. So let's get right over into that article. Let's see what it's talking about. So as we see here, let's go right there. Pro Football Hall of Fame and media personality Shannon Sharpe settled a lawsuit on July 18th, ending a $50 million civil lawsuit that accused him of sexual assault and battery. His attorney said that Tony Bugsby, the attorney for the woman identified as Jane Doe, they still identify her as Jane Doe, but everybody knew her name, so I don't know why they're still identifying her as Jane Doe, announced that the sides have reached a resolution and the case would be dismissed. On April 20th, 2025, Busby Law Firm filed a complaint in Nevada on several allegations against Shannon Sharpe. Both sides acknowledged a long-term consensual and relationship after protracted and protracted. See, I might be saying this wrong. And respectful negotiations. I'm pleased to announce that we have reached a mutual agreed upon resolution. All matters have now been addressed satisfactorily, and the matter is closed. The lawsuit would thus be dismissed with prejudice. Busby did not release any details of the arrangement. The case was initially filed in April after the woman alleged that Sharpe engaged in intentional infliction of emotional distress and later assaulted her twice. Once in October 2024 and in January 2025. She said that he became violent over the course of the relationship, but he basically ended up stepping away from making appearances on ESPN in April. He retained his innocence. The 57-year-old said the lawsuit was a shakedown. She got some money, man. There's no way till they settled. She probably got she got some millions, tens of millions. I don't know. To me, it sounds like a shakedown to me. But you can't be sure. Can't be sure because we don't know the facts. But to me, it sounds like a shakedown. You got to be careful who you mess with at the end of the day. These rich people start getting on these young girls, and then they can get a bag off you. Now, if he was actually doing what she said he was doing, then yes, he deserves to be punished for it. I don't know why it's a civil case and not a criminal case, but hey, maybe they couldn't prove criminally. I don't know, but hey, that's my thinking. So let's get over into it. So now, after all that, he settled. So he ended up now stepping away from ESPN. So he's now, we're going to see with him, ESPN cut ties with him. He didn't step away, they cut ties with him.
Confirming to NBC, it's cutting ties with its NFL commentator Shannon Sharpe. The move coming after Sharpe, of course, the Hall of Fame tight end, settled a lawsuit accusing him of sexual assault and battery. He has previously denied the allegations against him, and he hasn't been on the air since April. NBC News is out to Sharpe and his attorney for comment, although we haven't heard back. Ellison Barber is tracking this one. Ellison, what else do we know?
Hey, Hallie, I mean, it is a massive fall from grace for the Hall of Famer turned broadcast giant. As you said, his relationship with ESPN, it is officially over. He had not been on the air at ESPN since this lawsuit was first filed back in April. That was a decision at the time that he and his attorney had said they had made, that he had made on his own as he dealt with.
You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's all it is he chose to mess with the girl. And this is what happened. You got to be careful who you mess with. I don't know if he actually did it or not, but at the end of the day, they both chose to mess with each other.
What he described back then as false and disruptive allegations. But look, he's no longer going to be on ESPN, and this is despite the network renegotiating his contract and announcing an expansion of his role on the show First Take just last year. You mentioned it, but no comment from ESPN or Sharpe as of yet. The split, it does come 2 weeks after the attorney who was representing the woman who had accused Sharpe of sexual assault and raping her in the state of Nevada on 2 different occasions, one in late 2024 and one in January of this year. It comes 2 weeks after her attorney announced that they had reached a settlement on that lawsuit. The terms of the settlement were not publicly disclosed. Again, Sharpe has consistently denied any wrongdoing here. He claims that he had a consensual relationship with this woman. Based on court filings in the state of Nevada, she had said that she had met Sharpe back in 2023 at a gym when she was 20 years old and that they had engaged in a relationship over the course of 2 years. And then again, in late 2024, that's when she says she was assaulted by Sharpe, both physically and sexually, and raped at least 2 times. Again, no direct comment from Sharpe at this time. He and his attorney, they had previously said that the decision to step away from his role at ESPN in April was one that he made himself. This no longer a decision he has made himself. This is ESPN splitting from Sharpe. He will not be on that show, on that program, on the network moving forward. That being said, he does have an incredibly popular podcast that airs weekly, and as far as we know, that will...
He's still going to make some money. He's still going to make some money. He has an incredible, successful podcast on YouTube, so he's still going to make plenty of money. But he did make a response, so let's get over into his response about ESPN cutting him.
Hello, it's your favorite sports thunk here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the fastest growing community on YouTube. News by now that I will not, obviously, I'm sure everybody's heard the news by now that I will not be returning to ESPN. I found out this information a little earlier in the week, and really the only thing that I really ask is like, guys, could we wait until Monday? My brother's going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I really wanted to be about him, and I wanted to be about my family. I know this coming out will overshadow everything that he's worked his entire life for. And unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. And so as I told him, as I profusely apologized to him earlier today, he said, bro, stop apologizing. You don't have to apologize. I'm your big bro. I'm going to love you regardless. We all make mistakes. And he says, bro, I love you. So I'm done with this. You're done with it too. Move on. And I really enjoyed my time at ESPN. It gave me an opportunity to bring my audience that saw me really just grow. They saw me, Lakers in 5, and they saw me say all these analogies that my grandparents gave me, and I was able to bring that to ESPN. So I'm very, very grateful for that. But I just wished, of all things, like I said, hey, they did what they felt they needed to do, and I'm at peace with that. But I just wish, guys, this thing could have waited until Monday, because I hate the fact that I'm overshadowing my brother, the first 2 brothers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And this is what the headline's going to be for the next couple of days. So, bro, again, I know you told me this, I don't have to apologize, but I'm going to do it one final time tonight, and I won't apologize again. I'm sorry that I upstaged you in this manner. That was never my intent. You've been my hero. You've been my role model from as long as I can remember. And I apologize, and I thank all my fans for supporting me when I was at ESPN and every place that I've been, be it Club Shay Shay, Nightcap, Undisputed, ESPN. Thank you guys for your support.
So, yeah. So that was his response to everything. Now, do I think that ESPN had a right to, needed to stick with what they said, or do what he did, do what he said, and wait to withhold information until I think it was beginning of this week? No, at the end of the day, it's their company. He's hit rock bottom at this point. His reputation for ESPN and how they look at him has hit rock bottom. And when you're winning, you can make demands and suggestions, but when you're losing, you can't really expect them to honor what you're saying. So, but yep, he's still gonna, like I say, he still got a great following on YouTube. Some people left him, of course, because of it, but some people even follow him again. So he's still gonna make plenty of money, and I honestly think he's still gonna be doing the sports. And if the numbers still start doing good, another TBS or somebody else might pick him up. I mean, if you're making money, no matter what happened in the past, some people are gonna be looking to try to join you, and hey, go with it. But like I said, that is what's happening with Shannon Sharpe, no longer on ESPN, just on gonna be still doing his YouTube stuff. But hey, he settled. Just the OnlyFans model got her bag. She made some money. She can retire from OnlyFans. But yeah, like I said, tell me your thoughts on that. Do you think it was a shakedown? Do you think he actually did what she was saying he did? That he forcefully assaulted her? Tell me your thoughts. But still an absolutely crazy situation. At the end of the day, he chose to mess with that young girl. Was she like 20 at the time when he first met her? 54, 52, however old it was. That's too much. But hey, like I said, now we're going to pivot over into something. A fake gun. So a suspect had a fake gun in a medical facility, and it caused a lockdown. So we're going to see what that was. He's lucky the cops ain't see him, because hey, you carry around a fake gun, you accidentally wave in front of police, they shoot you because they think they're not gonna check to see if it's a real gun before they make their move. Nah, you pointed a gun, it's over with. So let's see what this is all about.
We are following some breaking news out of Bethesda, Maryland, and this is a live aerial look here at this area. This, as Walter Reed Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, is currently under lockdown as a suspect with a fake gun is in custody at this hour after reports of an active shooter at Walter Reed. So we're getting new information into our studio right here at Live Now from Fox as you're taking a live aerial look at where all of this is happening. According to our Fox 5 DC team, a suspect is in custody with a fake gun after officials responded to reports of an active shooter at Walter Reed Medical Center. Officers were dispatched at around 10:24 a.m. Eastern Time in the 8900 block of Rockville Pike for the report of an active shooter. That is according to the Montgomery County Department of Police. They go on to say that the subject is in custody and was armed with a fake gun. They say there is no threat to the community and the scene is secure. But from this aerial view, you can see a number of vehicles right here where the center is still under lockdown as a precautionary measure. Officials say that reports of an active shooter were in the area of Building 10. So if you're familiar with Walter Reed Medical Center specifically, there were reports of the active shooter in the area of Building 10. At this hour, Walter Reed Medical Center is currently under lockdown. All gates are closed to non-emergency vehicles, and all personnel have been directed to remain in place until further notice. But we do want to stress right now that according to police, there is no threat to the community and the scene is secure. So as to who this suspect is, that still remains unknown, as this is breaking news. We don't know who this person was who is now in custody with a fake gun, you know, what sort of connection perhaps that they might have with Walter Reed Medical Center. But at this hour, we do want to share with you that a suspect is in custody with a fake gun after officials responded to reports of an active shooter at Walter Reed Medical Center. All of this unfolding, according to the Montgomery County Department of Police, at around 10:24 a.m. There is no threat to the community, and the scene is secure as all of the gates now are closed to non-emergency vehicles, and all personnel have been directed to remain in place until further notice.
So that is, ain't really much to say about it. What was he trying to do with a fake gun in a medical center? Come on now. Look, play stupid game, win stupid prizes. He's lucky he isn't dead. He's lucky he's not dead. I don't know was he trying to threaten someone? Was he trying to bring a fake gun and causing a lockdown in a medical center? People are absolutely crazy these days. What was he planning to do? Now, that was just a little short video. I don't know what he was planning to do. We'll see. They haven't released any more details about it, but this happened yesterday, I believe. Oh, Jesus. Walter Reed Medical Center. Yeah, no, ain't no way. Lucky's not dead, because if I see a gun, fake, I'm not going to look to see if it's a fake gun or not. Then you know what they do? They'll have a fake gun, but then they'll take the little orange tip off of it and spray paint it black or something like that so that people think it's a real gun. People do it all the times when they're trying to commit suicide by cop, threaten someone. Now, is there a charge for pretending a gun is fake? That's a question. Oh, that's a good question. What's the charge on? That's something we ask Google. Let's see what it says. Varnishing. Okay, so it might give you varnish. So it's illegal to varnish or use to threaten or carry a fake gun in public in a way that could cause alarm or fear. Furthermore, some jurisdictions have specific laws regarding the sale, manufacturing, and possession of imitation guns. So it might give you varnishing. Oh, you can still conceal in many places. It is illegal to use a fake gun concealed in public. Similar laws regarding firearms. Oh, wow. Mud plug, diminish them as real. So yeah, you get charged, and you get more charged. I don't know what people are thinking sometimes. Absolutely crazy. Now, tell me your thoughts. Like, what charge do you think he should get for having a fake gun in a medical center? He needs to spend some time in jail. That's all that matters. That's all that matters to me. I don't know how much time, but people are crazy nowadays. People are truly crazy nowadays. But now that was a little short thing we want to talk about, but now we're going to get over into PPP loans. So PPP loans, y'all remember what it was? Helping small businesses keep afloat during the COVID. So, but the PPP loan fraud went crazy. A lot of people because I don't think they required you to show any crazy proof. They didn't require any proof. And people could get loans for thousands. But we got someone, an African, I can't remember his name, but he became a millionaire off PPP loan fraud. So we're going to jump right over into that. He ended up buying houses, cars. I don't understand why he stayed in America. He's from Africa. Why didn't he just go back to Africa with the money he made? But hey, he stayed and he was arrested. So let's get over into this and see what it's talking about.
help small business. Money was intended to help small businesses, but it went to fancy cars and property. Fox 5's Denise Dillon talked to the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia about the case.
Carl Torjagbo used some of that money to buy this house. Authorities say he cheated the government out of millions of dollars so he could lead a lavish lifestyle.
Torjagbo is a fraudster from Marietta.
During the pandemic, Carl Torjagbo got a $9.6 million
hold on.
paycheck
We got
protection pandemic. Carl Torjagbo.
Come on now. He looks like someone trying to scam you. He looks like he's trying to scam you. God.
Torjagbo got a $9.6 million Paycheck Protection Program loan. On top of that, he filed fraudulent tax returns that generated a $3.4 million IRS refund.
That's $13 million.
See, how is there no checks? I don't know. At least all the people I've seen talk on the internet talk about, they don't get that big of a refund check from the IRS. $3.6 million on a refund check? That should have been immediately flagged. Like, they got to do a lot of research into that. If someone's tax return is saying they owe $3.6 million. Absolutely crazy.
Of money obtained from the federal government through fraud.
He spent that money on this home in East Cobb, land in Northwest Georgia, a number of high-end vehicles, a down payment on a 72-foot yacht, and plastic surgery.
Oh, yeah.
Got himself $15,000 worth of gladiator abs.
Torjagbo was able to get the PP.
This man bought Drake abs. He bought Drake abs.
Plastic surgery.
Got himself $15,000 worth of gladiator abs.
Torjagbo was able to get the PPP loan, claiming he had a company, Kremkov Industries.
Kremkov Industries was running a gold mine in Ghana.
The company was fake, and so were the hundreds of employees he said worked for him.
According to Torjagbo, 493 people who were living in the United States but working a mine in Ghana. And he identified by name a number of those employees to the banks. Individuals like Keanu Reeves, Gene Hackman, Oliver Twist, Jon Snow. This was really a notorious fraud.
Did he use a Game of Thrones name to? Nah, bro, that's crazy.
While it may seem almost comical, the money Torjagbo received was meant to help small businesses that were barely getting by during COVID.
But it's horribly offensive that this was money meant to help struggling Americans, and it was wasted and abused by this criminal.
Torjagbo will be sentenced in November. The maximum he could receive, 170 years.
Yo, that's crazy. 170 years. Because he got a $9.6 million PPP loan. Faking everything. They say he got gold mines with Keanu Reeves working from it. Jon Snow. He got the celebrities working for him. And he ended up getting a $3.6 million tax refund. Now the biggest question is, why did he stay in America? Why did he stay in America? You just got $13 million in fraud money. Why did he stay in America? Maybe because he could, I don't know. That is absolutely crazy. All from PPP loan. All this came from the PPP loan fraud. $9 million PPP loan fraud. That is absolutely crazy. There should have been better checks. I don't know what documents he sent over to have to them approve a $9.6 million loan. Where did he make them on Photoshop and Adobe? How did he get I don't know. That is crazy. The government, I think it was a federal program. The government failed on that. Who? $9.6 million? And then the IRS let him get a $3.6 million tax refund. All from Where's this man picture at? We gotta look at this man. He looks like he would scam you. This man, is that a pilot's flight? What is happening here? What is happening? $1 million. And you know they starting to come after everybody now. You know that's people. So y'all, a lot of people got PPP loans and didn't want them. I mean, didn't need them. They went and bought a new Gucci belt, and they starting to come after people now. You never know. It's been how long? And they are coming after people with PPP loans and who frauded the government. That's what their whole thing is. So they either ask you to pay it back or you go to jail. He obviously couldn't pay it back. He obviously couldn't go back. And they said that he can get up to 170 years. 170 years in jail. 170 years in jail. Absolutely crazy. Tell me your thoughts on that. Don't tell me if you did a PPP fraud, because the government gonna come after you. So, do you know people who did the PPP loan fraud? Are they scared that the government gonna come after them, or they just say, hey, it's not gonna be, it's already been too late. But like I said, tell me your thoughts on that. But I saw that and that's absolutely crazy. I had to talk about it. That is absolutely wild. So the next thing we're gonna get into is, so we got to get into some people. A fight happened outside of a rec center, and because of the fight, somebody came back afterwards and started shooting up the place, and they ended up getting hurt, or they ended up hurting children who were there for I think it was the first day of the rec center or the pool was opening. So, some people are scum. Some people truly are scum, and they're horrible people. But let's get right into that and see what it's talking about.
I'm tired of thoughts and prayers at moments like this because they seem so deficient. It is not enough. It shouldn't happen, and it shouldn't occur.
From Philadelphia's mayor to the community, frustration is mounting over the gun violence in our city. Rec centers used to be places for kids to play safely, but as we have seen time and time again, that is no longer the case. Today's shooting outside a rec center and community pool in West Philadelphia happened while dozens of kids were swimming and its summer camp had just wrapped for the day. 5 people were injured, including 4 children, the youngest just 10 years old. This is the 10 o'clock news. I'm Sheba Russell. Here's what we know so far. Police say sometime this afternoon a fight broke out near Christie Rec Center. It was broken up, but then the people involved in that fight returned to the area and opened fire. 2 young children, 10 and 11 years old, were grazed by bullets. 2 teenagers, both 16 years old, are also recovering tonight.
They said they 2 young.
Here's what we know so far. Police say sometime this afternoon a fight broke out near Christie Rec Center. It was broken up, but then the people involved in that fight returned to the area and opened fire. 2 young children, 10 and 11 years old, were grazed by bullets. 2 teenagers, both 16 years old, are also recovering tonight. 1 is in critical condition, and an adult rec center employee was also grazed. Our Shawnette Wilson is live at Philadelphia Police Headquarters for us tonight. Shawnette, we are most certainly feeling the frustration and the sadness here.
And Sheba, this was the first day that this pool was open, the first chance that these kids had to be there and swim around.
It's sickening that we don't have a place that's safe. That some of these cities, some of these towns, some of these places that it's hard to even go through because you never know what. I mean, I guess it can happen anywhere, but that's absolutely crazy. It's not even safe where kids are. What happened to being there certain places where people just aren't going to act like that? Like you don't have to worry. You shouldn't have to worry about your grandma or somebody getting shot while they at church. Somebody getting shot while they with the kids. Like if you beefing with somebody and you just go and try to shoot, it don't matter who you hit, who's behind them. I'm glad I don't beef with people, man. I'm not out in that scene. I'm not in that. I like to be a law-abiding citizen, but let's keep going.
It was just spilled over the weekend. What has happened has rocked this community.
That means that you have no regard for human life. You have no regard for our young people.
A tragic scene at Christie Recreation Center in West Philly this afternoon. Police crime scene tape around the pool and parts of the building. Shell casings on the ground, even a bullet hole in this car parked near the corner of 56 and Christian.
Those people who are responsible, whomever they are, once the investigation is complete, any and everyone associated with this will be held accountable.
City officials were upset and angry to report a shooting that left 5 people hurt. Investigators say police took a 10-year-old boy and 11-year-old girl to CHOP, both with graze wounds and in stable condition. They say a 16-year-old boy arrived at another hospital where he is in critical condition. Another 16-year-old boy was taken to Penn Presby in stable condition. And lastly, a 32-year-old man who is a city employee with the rec center suffered a graze wound to the hand and is in stable condition.
To find that we have almost 75 children in the pool, and individuals will come down here and fire when our children are here. There are boundaries. And if they don't set the boundaries, then we will set them for them.
Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel says early information is that there was a fight here earlier in the day, that rec center staff and an officer on detail here broke up. But around 4 o'clock, people came back.
Fired at individuals who were not in the pool but on 56th Street outside of the pool.
Harold Boswell is a community crisis intervention advocate with an organization called Eddie's House.
It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because I got kids and my team, they got kids.
He says they canvass this area almost every day.
We tell people all the time, you got a problem, reach out to us. We'll try to solve it for you. They don't have to go this far.
Eli Mount lives nearby.
Come on, let's be honest. Let's be honest. They are not going to come. They are already in this life. They're not going to come to you to solve their problems. It's already ingrained in them. It seems like they're already at that point to where they don't care about who they hurt. They only care about getting their get back. And it's sad. It's sickening and sad. These people deserve to be in jail. In jail if they don't care about. We stay in jail. They need to be caught, arrested, and make sure they are stay in jail for. They should life. It's got to be life because there's no reason they should be out. They shot at someone, didn't care who was behind them. They ended up hitting kids. Nah, bro, you're in jail for life. There's no need to think about it. There's no need for you to get back out. You lost the chance to be out here with civilized people. There's no reason for it. It's over with. You lost the privilege. It's over with. It's a privilege to be out here with regular people, be able to be with your kids. And it's over with. You lost it.
Kids can't just come here and have fun. Besides, somebody come in here and start shooting at people.
And police tell us they have a lot of video to look at for clues. Of course, the rec center has cameras. They also went into a convenience store on the corner, Sheba, to get video from their cameras. They're asking anyone who has information about this shooting to call 215-686-TIPS. And just from the community here, this is, I want to be clear, not information confirmed by police, Sheba, but on the scene today, a lot of people in the community were saying that this had something to do with an argument over a girl. Again, not confirmed by police,
my
but
God.
people out there were saying that tonight, including some of the community leaders who canvassed that area and were talking to young people while we were out there.
Why do women make you crash out so much? Why do you crash out so much over a female? You end up shooting up a block, hitting kids because of a female? Man, there are so many women in the world. Why are you? Oh my God, it's crazy. Over a girl, and now you're going to get caught. Hopefully people, whoever somebody saw it, saw their faces, and actually tells on them, and actually calls the police. God, I hope so, because they deserve to be in jail. You start crashing out and retaliating, not caring about who's behind the person, and shooting and ended up hitting kids, and you crash out over a girl, over an argument over a girl. Yeah, man, you need to be in jail. It's as simple as that. You need to be in jail. There's nothing else about it. I don't see any other course of action that can happen. You need to be in jail. Now, like I said, tell me your thoughts. Do you think I'm wrong on this? Do you think I'm wrong on this? God. Why? It's always. Oh, it seems to me nowadays, or it might not be nowadays. It's always a woman can make a man crash out so easily now. Are the men just not strong enough? What is the problem? I can't imagine throwing my life away over a girl. Had it been someone cheated on you, somebody slept with somebody, and you throw your life away over a girl? Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy to me. Now, like I said, tell me your thoughts on that video if you disagree with any things I said, but now, hey, like I said, we are talking about a lot of crazy things, and we're reviewing a lot of crazy subjects. Remember to like and subscribe, and follow me. Send me any videos you got that you want to talk about too. Like I said, send me any videos. I'll put my email in my description, but it's simply my name. Hey, AC Reviews the World. You put the don't just like the name is written with the periods and all, the dots and all. Just acreviewstheworld@gmail.com. Send me any videos you want to talk about, and you want me to discuss, and we want to review together. The world is a crazy place. Got people crashing out over girls and all, but hey, Jesus. Now it's time to pivot over into, so a couple days ago, maybe about a week ago, we talked about a couple in Arkansas who was killed on a hunting trail. Oh, not hunting, but a hiking trail in Arkansas. So they finally found the person who did it, and it wasn't Arkansas. It was a teacher, an Arkansas teacher. But we're gonna rewatch a little bit of the video we watched before, and then we're gonna jump over into where they actually tell us the suspect and show us this. We get to see what he looks like. Get to see this crazy man, what he looks like. But let's get right into that and see what it's talking about so we can review it together.
And woman hunt is underway in Arkansas after a husband and wife were murdered while hiking with their 2 young daughters. So Arkansas State Police say Kristen and Clinton Brink, both in their 40s, were murdered Saturday afternoon while hiking at Devil's Den State Park. Police say their 7 and 9-year-old daughters were with them. They were not hurt, but they saw it all happen. They're safe with family members.
Can't imagine. Saw the whole thing happen.
They have not yet disclosed how the victims were killed. Police say the suspect is a male. Last seen wearing a dark ball cap. That doesn't give you much. Sunglasses. And for some reason, he had on fingerless gloves. They say he may be driving a black sedan. They think it is a Mazda.
7-11 now. 3 people are dead after a train derailed in southern Germany.
Dude, is this the right video? Hold on. We gotta actually want to see the actual couple. Well, you know what? We don't need to see that. But basically, yes, they were killed on a hiking trail called Devil's Den, right in front of their 2 daughters. And now they found the man. So let's just jump right into that and see who they found and who was doing this crazy.
The manhunt is over in Arkansas. This is the guy they.
Come on, bro. He's a teacher? This man is a teacher. Teaching your children. Well, we don't know what the age of the teacher is, but this man is crazy.
We're looking for, suspected of killing a couple on a hike with their 2 young daughters at Devil's Den State Park. This is James McGann. He's being held now without bond, taken into custody on Wednesday, marking the end of a days-long manhunt. Scary photo, right? Apparently getting a haircut at the time of his arrest. He was set to start a job as a teacher in the area this fall, which makes it even more alarming. He is now charged with 2 counts of capital murder. Clinton and Kristen Brink were killed in front of their little girls, 7 and 9 years old. The girls are thankfully safe now with family.
Every time I hear that, it's just hard to hear. You kill someone in front of their kid. We just talked about that. I mean, people are crazy killing someone in front of their little girls. Absolutely correct.
Police scanner audio from the day of the murders.
What's the location in the state park that we need to be responding to?
Medic 4 and Strickler. Washington County received a call from the visitor center. 2 children are there. They advised that their parents were assaulted. One was possibly stabbed. The parents are missing.
Trail. Icebox, hiking down. For help.
Repeat that. Say again. Repeat.
Hear yells calling for help. We're hiking down.
Try to relay to the office. So we found the victims down here. They're on the lower Devil's Den Trail. Just a couple minutes. I think I see you right there. I've got two bodies down here.
Joining us now, retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent Dennis Franks, partner at the Vialis Group International. Dennis, I'm very curious, as I know you are, into the police work that happened to track him down. To learn now that he was mid-haircut when they made the arrest about 30 miles from this park, even more chilling.
Hey,
in addition to
his cut his hair off. Crazy.
Yes, I think this is an example of really excellent police work, law enforcement work, and in cooperation with the public. I think that they very quickly asked for tips from the public to get any photos, videos, coverage, any information they could from the public. And they released, a photo of this individual, evidently, from behind that someone had taken on the hiking trail. And I think that, again, I don't have all the details, but I suspect that they had a description of the vehicle and that there were probably license plate or cameras
sketch
at the park entrance and exit, and maybe they were able to determine a license plate. And this town is probably, I think its population is 84,000 or so. They likely have cameras dedicated to police and also to the city itself, but they're probably license plate readers and things of that nature, and maybe that's
things
how
you need
they
to
were
have.
able to track him down to the salon where he was getting the haircut. Anyway, I think it was just an example of probably where it's a good cooperation of law enforcement in public tips.
We've got to talk about his background, and from what we've been able to gather from local reports and police, he is a teacher. He had resigned from his position as a teacher in Oklahoma before moving to Arkansas and had cleared a background check. So how unusual is it to now be facing 2 counts of capital murder in what appears to be a random
This man was
attack?
about to be teaching kids.
It is disturbing that someone like this, evidently, he's charged with this and in the position of being a teacher. And you would ask, well, how could someone in that position clear a background? Well, there's probably nothing on his record, nothing to indicate he's done this before. But I'm curious to find out if they
What's the
determine that
motive?
he has done something like this before, or if this is just his first act of violence. And also, we don't know yet what the motivation was. Did he know them, or was it random? My information is that they did collect hair from him, a sample of hair when he was arrested. So they're going to obviously run this, compare it to any hair and other evidence found at this crime scenes or scene, and then running in a DNA database. But it's just appalling. That's why someone would do this in the first place. And those questions, may or may not ever be answered, but I'm sure they're going to try to find out if it is the first act of violence of this nature, or has he done something like this before that hasn't been solved.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download.
Absolutely crazy. So where is he at? Where is this man at? So 28 years old from Springdale, Arkansas, charged with 2 counts of capital murder. First court date is tomorrow. So this was, okay, so he just had his court date probably today. Absolutely. I want to know what the motives was. What made him want to kill someone in front of their 2 daughters? Was he angry at something? What was and then he was a teacher, about to be a teacher? You never know what someone is capable of. Never. It can be anyone. A teacher, a doctor, anyone can be capable of some heinous crimes. anyone. So you gotta have your head on a swivel. Gotta be ready. Gotta be prepared, because you never know what can happen. Luckily, he didn't touch the kids. I'm thankful he didn't touch the kids, but the kids, we're gonna have to pray for the kids because they are traumatized. They lost both of their parents, and they seen it happen. Yeah, that's some trauma I'm not prepared to even handle. But they're gonna need some therapy, and they're gonna need some love. Let's be honest, they're gonna need some love from their family, from their community. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like I said, I don't know what can go through someone's mind who's capable of doing something like this. Tell me your thoughts. You already know you got to get life. It's no life under the jail. He's in there forever. There's no need to think about it. No need to think about it. Don't even have to take that long. Hey, he's in there for life. Send him away. With all these people who need to be in jail for life, we're gonna have to build some bigger prisons. Be honest, we got to. There's no way to get around it. No way to get around it. Now we're almost done with the show. We got 2 more things to talk about, but we're gonna pivot over into an explosion that happened in Fremont. So an explosion, and it says a father and 2 children died. 2 of his daughters. So we're gonna get over into that, and so we're just gonna watch a few videos of what happened, and let's give our thoughts on it. Like always, just got to pray for the family. It's a crazy world out here. It's a crazy world. But let's get into it.
That breaking news, an explosion destroys a plant in Fremont. The city's mayor says 3 people were inside the Horizon Biofuels plant when it exploded just before noon today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Quinicia Fraser.
Absolutely. I'm Rob McCartney. The status of the 3 people inside, not clear right now. A KETV investigates obtained this video from a nearby surveillance camera. See that? The moment the building burst into flames.
Omaha's news leader has multiple crews on the scene in Fremont. First, KETV Newswatch Saren's Aaron Hagerty is live with what we know right now. Aaron.
Yeah, guys, we just heard that update from the mayor and the fire chief, as well as the Dodge County Sheriff's Office just about 15 minutes ago, wrapping up just moments ago. That's the key there, worth repeating again. 3 people were inside Horizon Biofuels when it exploded, and their condition is currently unknown.
Just back it up a tad bit.
Saren's Aaron Hagerty is live with what we know right now. Aaron.
Yeah, guys, we just heard that update from the mayor and the fire chief, as well as the Dodge County Sheriff's Office just about 15 minutes ago, wrapping up just moments ago. That's the key there, worth repeating again. 3 people were inside Horizon Biofuels when it exploded, and their condition is currently unknown. The fire chief said that they tried to, of course, access the building. They still, at this time, have not been able to. Several agencies have responded to try to help get inside and try to make sure the first responders can get inside safely and try a rescue operation. This was the scene as we arrived. Several first responders lining Cloverly Road here. It was very busy, and we're only just now learning that information, and there's several blocks that have been closed off, around about 3 blocks on each side, to handle this situation, and we will be working on bringing the latest to you moving forward. Back to you.
So that's that video. Let's move over into another video, different side.
It tells KETV it's launched an investigation into what happened today at Horizon Biofuels.
Not the first time OSHA has been involved with the company. KETV Newswatch 7's Bill Shamrock continues our team coverage. Bill.
Rob, Julia, Horizon Biofuels is a pellet manufacturing company making things like animal bedding, heating, and smoking pellets. KETV got a hold of one of the company's leaders who told us he is not ready to talk.
Building collapse with active flames and occupants. Manpower needed. Fremont fire is en route as well.
The call came in just before noon today, an explosion at the Horizon Biofuels building. Again, 3 people were inside at the time and still unaccounted for. This building sits on 4 acres of property on the southern edge of town. Because of the uncertainty inside, firefighters have not been able to launch a rescue or recovery mission. It's why they called in Nebraska Task Force 1.
We had them come just due to the structural collapse that we had, and
have them recon the area and be able to give us some updates on how we can safely get into the structure and do a search for the missing individuals.
KETV Investigates did uncover an OSHA complaint from 13 years ago for the company. They were cited for 5 serious violations and paid a $6,000 fine. Infractions included improper training, not cleaning up combustible materials, and not having a plan to release stored up.
All right, come on now. This is all this sounds like is that this was an accident waiting to happen or a disaster waiting to happen. 5 serious violations. Failing to ensure all employees are trained. That's a no-no. It's in a company or in a factory that's dealing with highly flammable material. Absolutely crazy. Not cleaning combustible material. Where does that make any sense? Where does that make any sense? And no plans for releasing the stored energy. So they just, God, this just seems like a disaster waiting to happen. But let's finish up this
energy. We had one viewer email us saying he cannot believe that sunshine logo is gone, saying it was like a welcome sign for the city of Fremont. That sunshine logo representing Golden Sun Feeds, the previous owners. Horizon Biofuels has been registered there since 2006. Rob?
All right, so last video we'll get into this.
Tonight, more than 24
we
hours.
actually see the explosion, so let's back that up a tad bit.
Tonight, more than 24 hours after this explosion tore through a biofuels plant in Nebraska, crews are still battling the ongoing fire.
The lightweight steel warehouse structure with concrete elevator structure is making the structure basically very difficult to access.
Multiple agencies are on the scene at the Horizon Biofuels, which manufactures wood pellets and animal bedding.
We have confirmed there was 1 adult male and 2 female juveniles in the building during the explosion. Right now, this has moved to a recovery effort.
The Fremont mayor says the 2 children were waiting for the adult employee to get off work to go to a doctor's appointment.
Half my world is here right now, and I can't even, I'm close, but I can't get any closer.
We spoke with one of the girl's stepfathers hours after the explosion, who told us his 12-year-old stepdaughter was spending time with her biological dad and younger half-sister.
It's his time to get them for 1 week on, 1 week off.
He says first responders told the family they weren't able to reach the dad and knew the 2 girls were trapped in the break room.
My heart hurts. It hurts for this situation. It's a tragedy.
The cause of the explosion is still unknown. The company is cooperating with authorities, but we have yet to hear from them directly. Tom?
Joe Hunter, thanks to you.
Absolutely crazy. You mean to tell me that the kids were there? They were there only because they were waiting for him to get off. They were waiting for the dad to get off. And they end up trapped and dying in the facility. Oh my God, I can't imagine that. Oh my God, you know the mother. Because the mother lost 2 children because it was, oh my God. She possibly lost 2 children. The half daughter could have been just his daughter. But that is absolutely crazy. I can't imagine losing a child. Can't imagine. The pain, the grieving. Nothing. Something I never want to go through. Something I never want to go through. I believe that it is the children who bury the parents, not the other way around, not the parents burying the children. That is always the best way. But you never know when accidents happen. You never know when things like something crazy like this would happen. So you just got, at the end of the day, you just got to be there for your kids and spend as much time with them as you can. Because you never know when that time will be up. We got to be honest about it. You never know when that time will be up. And we got to look at these things and be happy that we're still here and pray for the victims of the family and hope they can get through the grief. It's a wild situation. It's crazy to think about. And the company itself needs to be sued. You tell me there's a violation that happened 6 years ago? OSHA violation. They're just leaving combustible materials around? They already got fined for this type of stuff, not training their employees right. If they find out that they still weren't training their employees correctly, it's over with. Yeah, they're sued and the company has to be shut down. Now, like I said, tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts on any of that. And Jesus Christ. It's a sad world we live in sometimes, but we got to review the stuff and we got to review it together. Jesus Christ. But the last thing we're going to get into today, and the last thing, a little lighter, Chuck E. Cheese. Now, everybody who knows Chuck E. Cheese, I don't know if it's prevalent everywhere. I haven't looked into that, but I know in the South, in South Carolina especially, Chuck E. Cheese was a very prevalent place to go as a kid. Your parents take you over to Chuck E. Cheese. You eat that nasty cardboard pizza. Have a good time, spend some tickets, spend some money, and hopefully get a toy with the tickets you won. And then just have a good time. But Chuck E. Cheese, yes, the person inside who was wearing the Chuck E. Cheese costume was arrested by police in front of the children. So let's get right over to that video to finish it up and see what this was talking about. Absolutely crazy.
New details into the arrest of Chuck E. Cheese, or at least the man who was dressed up as one. It happened at a restaurant in Tallahassee.
But a family from the Villages witnessed the entire thing while on vacation. As Fox 35's Randy Hildreth found out, it was a visit the kids will likely never forget.
Chuck E. Cheese got arrested.
Oh,
it's been the talk of the Gegenheimer family for the last few days.
Like asking 100 questions of like, does this mean Chucky's gone forever? Like,
why
what
would
now?
Chucky be gone
The
forever?
Central Florida family was snapped in the back of this now viral photo of Chuck E. Cheese getting arrested at a Tallahassee
weird
location.
question. Why would Chucky
the
be gone
family
forever?
had just gotten in town to visit Grandma. 4-year-old Lizzie says she was nearly ready to help Mr. Cheese.
I just didn't want him to get arrested either.
Oh.
She's gonna go help us, then she saw the police and bam.
Mom says Lizzie had just taken a picture with the character, and 6-year-old Jenny was about to take one when police walked over.
I was in the midst of pushing Jenny towards Chucky. The cop grabbed one wrist and another one grabbed the other wrist, put it behind his back, told him not to resist. And like at the same time, I'm pulling my kids away. Like, what's going on in the midst of this?
According to the arrest affidavit, the man in the costume was Jermell Jones. He was arrested for credit card fraud. Police say he worked at the arcade and racked up a little over $100 in charges.
So this man was stealing credit cards of customers? Well, let's see. Let's go through a little bit of the charges he was doing. Let's see this. Smoke Shop, Tony Mart, Time Saver, Meat Market, Whataburger. What is that? Cloud Smoke Shop again, Circle K. They declined a 50-cent transaction. Don's Grocery and Meats, ASAP 2. What is that? And a card replacement fee. $100. You get arrested at your job working as Chuck. This man don't even look like he needs to be working at Chuck E. Cheese. But that's besides the point. Crazy. Arrested in front of the kids. Back up. Keep going.
New details.
Lizzie had just taken a picture.
Put it behind his back away.
Arrest affidavit. The man in the costume was Jermell Jones. He was arrested for credit card fraud. Police say he worked at the arcade and racked up a little over $100 in charges on a card left by a customer. Gegenheimer thinks he slipped on the costume to hide from police. She's glad he was caught, but wish he hadn't been arrested in front of the kids.
When they had him at the truck, they took off his head and put it on top of the SUV truck. So then we went into it's kind of like, Chucky's got a lot of friends who help him so he can get to all the Chuck E. Cheese places at once, like trying to manage the magic still while we're watching now the man get undressed out of the costume outside.
Police say Jones still had the stolen credit card on him, along with a small amount of marijuana. He's accused of committing the same crime 6 months ago. Randy Hildreth, Fox.
I guess they ain't run a background check on him. I'm assuming that's what they did. They did not run a background check on him. Because I don't know too many people who's trying to be a Chucky, trying to be in the Chuck E. Cheese costume. I don't think it pays a lot. Absolutely crazy. And they took off the helmet in front. They took off the head in front of the kids. I mean, yeah, you got it. All you can try to do is try to say something to get it past them, because I can't imagine as I was a little kid and then someone arrests Chuck E. Cheese in front of me. and then they take off his head. Because you don't process things like that as a little kid. You don't process things like that as a little kid. So it would shock me. Because at first I'm thinking as a little kid, I'm thinking Chuck E. Cheese is a real person. Then you just take off his head and it's this weird looking black man in there. What is happening? I would be so confused. That is crazy. I guess that's just. I can't even take a picture with him no more. Now, they probably not gonna want to come to Chuck E. Cheese again. It's over with. They done lost the magic. It's done lost the magic to the kids that were there. It's over with. But I saw that and I just want to talk about it. What are your thoughts on that? That was a crazy scene. This man's Chuck E. Cheese, and what is this? What would he be called? A Chuck E. Cheese costume wearer? He is Chuck E. Cheese. He wears the costume. And he's stealing credit cards and going on shopping sprees. He wasn't spending a lot. It was spent $100, but I mean that's a lot of some people too. But crazy. And he was arrested for doing the same things 6 months earlier. So, yeah, they definitely didn't run a background check. Definitely. They just taking anybody they can get, which sounds crazy. Who's around someone who's going to be with kids all the time, but they probably do anything violent. They probably wouldn't let it happen, of course. But absolutely crazy. Now, like I said, tell me your thoughts on that video. Jesus. Now that is the end of the show today. We started later today at 4 just because hey, got to do it right. But we are back at it tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So, hey, tune in. Remember to like, subscribe. Remember, this is AC Reviews the World, and I'm your host, AC the Engineer. And we just got to keep reviewing the world together. Got to keep reviewing the world together. But, hey, you already know I got to play the outro. So, hey, that's it now. Peace. Let's get right into it.